Hello, once again, and welcome to Heart and Soul Connected. My name is Allie, and today I'm going to talk about the reality of spiritual awakening. Um, there are some people who wonder if it's real and what constitutes a spiritual awakening. Some more spontaneous than others, but practice always does ensure that you're on the right road to raise your vibration and raise your spiritual consciousness. So it's self-help books. You go to the new age section of the bookstore. That was used to be the only way that you could really know what was going on for many years until it became more mainstream. And of course, now we have YouTube, we have TikTok, we have all kinds of spiritual awakening sites on Facebook and other places. And so there is a generic sort of spiritual awakening, I would say, and then there are other elements that can come in and to make it even more open for people. But not everybody has gone the same path, and not everybody awakens at the same time. There is something to be said for being open to being awakened and to seeing the signs around you, and to let go of seeing things that you want to see in your time frame, because it's spirit time is when you hear and you find your own spiritual awakening. There are several concepts for spiritual awakening. It usually is described as a shift in consciousness where an individual becomes more aware of their true nature and the world around them. This has been around for a long time. This is nothing new. There is nothing new in New Age or metaphysics. We can look back and see from stories and experiences people had over time in different places, such as the Oracle at Delphi and Greek times. We learn different ways that people have experienced their spiritual awakening, some of them having more cosmic awakening or, out of worldly awakening. Some people have experienced it through ecstatic spiritual rituals that they may do, such as Sufism, when you're a whirling dervish and you just whirl and wait for messages to come in. There's just so much of it. I can't encapsulate it all in a very short video, but there are different ways to awaken spiritually. And so, it's whatever your focus, whatever your interests are that bring you or whatever your life lessons are, your soul contract is how you're going to experience your own lessons and awakening. So one of the biggest misconceptions is that it's some sort of magical solution to your problems that you have in life. And that couldn't be further from the truth. We all have a certain amount of things that make us sad, problems we have to solve, and really good and wonderful times. And as you can see from my sign, happiness is a decision. It's a choice that you can make. And once you're happy with your life the way it is, then other things just simply fall into place. And knowing that you are not stunted in any way in your growth. Another misconception is that once you awaken, you'll be free from all your worries, living in eternal bliss, or you reach enlightenment and everything is going to be perfect and you're going to know everything. There's a saying: before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. We still have to be in the physical plane. We still have to live the daily life. And enlightenment is a journey. It's not a place. And there will be sparks of enlightenment as you go along. But maintaining that enlightened state is very difficult, especially if you're living in the real world, because you have to go to work, because you have to do other things, wash the clothes, do the dishes, those sorts of things. Also, it's not how things work, because there are misconceptions that a spiritual awakening are only for a few people. Monks, gurus, those types of people. This idea is not true. There is skepticism, because some people view spiritual awakening as a fad or a trend or a phase. But what about if there's more to it than just a fleeting interest? While people can be skeptical in some areas of their life, it is essential to question things before embracing them. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's healthy skepticism. You don't have to just fall in and behind somebody and believe everything that they say. We've all had our doubts, and we may still always have our doubts about certain things, but we also have the ability to move our concerns into moving forward and becoming more and more aligned with the truth of our own awakening. Different cultures and societies have their own interpretations of spiritual awakening. In some Eastern traditions, it's about achieving the enlightenment state where the individual ego is transcended. In other cultures, it's about connecting with nature and the universe. Really, it's always about all of that. From a scientific perspective, spiritual awakening can be linked to changes in our brain activity, particularly in the regions related to self-awareness and emotional regulation. We might have a shift in our perception of life and learn that this is through the journey of growth and self-discovery. One of the most compelling stories that I can give you is a friend of mine who went through a spiritual awakening after a near-death experience. Her perception of her life changed overnight, and she began to see the world in a completely new way. She didn't really know how to deal with it at first because she didn't understand it for what it was. She started prioritizing, however, her spiritual growth, and it had a ripple effect for her. Stories like hers are a testament to the potential power of spiritual awakenings. And there's a phenomenon of collective awakening where groups of people also experience a time shift, a paradigm shift in consciousness. And currently we are trying to go through the 3D world consciousness that we live in here on the earth up to the 5D consciousness, where we already know the answers to a lot of things. And we have raised our vibration high enough to live in unconditional love. That would be in the 5-dimensional world. The evidence supporting spiritual awakening is multifaceted. Some people point to the countless accounts of individuals who've had profound transformations in their lives. Others look at scientific studies. Others look at the mindfulness and meditation on their mental health. What is not conclusive to those who are scientific mind is that they don't understand it in that way, because it is not to be understood in that way. It's a faith-based idea that what you're seeing is real, what you're feeling is real, what you're going through is something real for you. The evidence supporting it also is intriguing. What if spiritual awakening is more than just a personal experience? What if it's a universal experience? A lot of people during the time of Jesus Christ experienced a profound spiritual awakening, as they did with the Buddha and as they have with others. This is not guru mentality. This is an awareness of something much bigger that is formulating how we live in the world that we are walking on. Our exploration of spiritual awakening has shown that it's a complex subject. There is much misunderstanding or skepticism around it, but it can have a profound effect on our lives, and it can offer us a new way of looking at something through one of the tools or a variety of tools that you can access in order to move your vibration to a higher plane. Meditation, mindfulness, Tai Chi, karate, working with your hands in creating, painting, walking on the earth, planting a garden. All of those things can bring you into greater balance as to what your personal spiritual awakening might involve. Lining up the chakras, letting the chakras move through the body also helps to align those parts of the body in which they reside up the spine, and also to the third eye in the crown and further on. All of this All of these things are components in some people's spiritual awakening. And there are some people who just have spontaneous awakening. They remember past lives. They work with the Akashic records. All of these things are available to all of us, but there is no time frame. Oh, I want to have this done by. It's not like a plan at the college that you go to that you'll get a degree at this point. Look at it as a journey to where you want to be your best self, and realize that we're all there already. And if we think we are, there shall we be. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.